I wanted to ask you, weird question, but do you feel like a creative genius?
I've written thousands of pieces of music to the point where I don't even realize it's mine. A lot of people who do it well, but quite truthfully, I don't even know if that matters. I really like what I do. You just create and you try to be as true to yourself as you can. I think there's great value in sharing your work and really trying to get that open feedback from people. This might be what separates me from some. It's difficult as an artist to do that. So I don't take it personally as the chef. I take it personally as a restaurant owner. And this actually always makes me tear up because it's so profound for me. Artists at their purest, doing what they love for the love of doing it, with no promise of money, fame, fortune, or anything like that. We are Canadians, and we should be supporting our own artists and work. What else would I do that would make me as fulfilled as I am doing it? No matter what happens, you have to love it.
Before we get into the interview, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed. It helps out our channel so much and it doesn't cost you a damn thing. Welcome and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I like to always start at the beginning. You wanted to be an actor and performer when you were younger, younger than today. And, and did you go to school for that after high school?
No. Funnily, I drilled in my head from birth was you're going to university, you're going to get an education. And then at one point I realized, you can go to school for music, and which was a big passion of mine. I didn't even know there was a school for acting.
Okay.
Let alone music, but I found out there's music, so I went to school for music. I went to Boston.
Nice. Oh, amazing. And you're a composer, for those who don't know, and if I've skipped it in the intro somehow. What came first, composing or performing? I guess if you went to music school, it was composing?
Yeah. No, I think performing, actually. I was musically performing a lot when I was in high school, from 14.
Nice.
I think I remember carrying my giant keyboard and amp and keyboard stand on the bus to go to gigs. Nice. And so I'd play a lot. And I remember one time I went to a, what was it, some event on a stage where they just wanted entertainment, and I was singing musical theater songs. And I just thought, I look back on that and go, what was I thinking? So yeah, I have a long history of performing.
Love, that's awesome. I wanted to ask you, weird question, but do you feel like a creative genius?
I feel like I'm a creator. I feel like I really like what I do.
I know it's a weird loaded question, but I'm curious because Canadians are very humble with how they answer questions. And then, I was just curious because like you're doing the thing.
I think, so for me, whenever I write something, as soon as it's done, written on paper, recorded as audio, I'll revise it later, sure. But in my head, it's done and it's no longer mine. So I've done things before where I've listened back to stuff I've written. And for TV and commercial and film work, I've written thousands of pieces of music to the point where I don't even realize it's mine until someone says, you wrote that. I'm like, oh, geez. So I'll listen back to stuff that I've written before and I'll go, oh, I really like that. And I go, obviously I like that. It was me, like it's my personal tastes. So I like what I do, and I think I do it well. And I think there are a lot of people who do it well, but quite truthfully, I don't even know if that matters. I think you make art, you put it out into the world, and it becomes what it becomes. People love it, people hate it. People hate it now, love it later. People love it now, hate it later. You just create and you try to be as true to yourself as you can. So you're proud of your work and your legacy.
Nice. Is it hard to get that feedback if it's negative? Or are you pretty okay with just brushing it off?
That's an interesting question. I have a lot of people. I think this might be what separates me from some. I have a lot of people who I send everything I do to. and they will tell me if it's bad. They'll tell me this is boring, this isn't good, this doesn't work here, this is one of the worst things you've ever written, this is one of the best things you've ever written. And I get a lot of that, and it really helps my work.
Nice.
So because of that, and once I get their approval and their sign off on like, yeah, it's where it needs to be, then if someone says it's terrible, then that's a bit of a, oh shoot, like I was pretty sure that, and not to say that their opinion is actually the absolute truth of opinion, either side, but I've gone through so much work trying to make it as, to be as open to change and constructive criticism as I can.
Right.
And then to hear that, oh, this is bad because of this, then I'm like, I tried to tackle that. I tried to address that in the revisions. And so it's not as hard as it would be if I didn't hear anything from anybody, if I didn't get any feedback, and then all of a sudden someone says it's bad, then yeah, that'd probably sting.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. To get the criticism or the constructive feedback as you go, instead of just being like, I think this is great, and then sending it out and being like, shit, it wasn't okay.
And truthfully, I used to be a mixing engineer, an audio engineer.
Yep.
And I still do a little bit of that work, but I would send mixes of mine to clients who know nothing about mixing, nothing about audio engineering, nothing about anything other than they listen to the radio, they stream, buy CDs, whatever, and they would come back with notes, and they'd say, you know, this sounds weird or too harsh or doesn't sit well balanced, and on and on and on. And I would say 7 to 8 times out of 10, they were right. And I couldn't hear it because I was too close to it.
Right.
And so I would change it, and then I'd listen back and go, oh, darn. So I think there's great value in sharing your work and really trying to get that open feedback from people.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I even do by, so if I were to send you something, if I wrote a new song, and there's a little thing in my head that's saying, this is a little bit slow, it's a little bit boring, I don't know, or is it intimate and interesting? So I'd send it to you and I would say, hey, is this boring? I feel like it's boring. Can you have a listen? And that way it opens it up for you to be able to be like, yeah, it's a bit boring. But if I just said, what do you think? And you think it's boring, chances are you're not just going to come out to me and say it's boring.
Yes.
Because as Canadians, we're very polite.
Yeah, I even do it with tasting people's food. They're like, what does it need? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Yeah. But if they're like, is this too salty? I'm like, okay, it's got too much salt or whatever.
Exactly,
but they're like, what would you add to this? I'm like, love? I don't know.
It's true. And you send anything to anyone without that, it's like, it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not helping me.
And it's not helpful. Yeah, that's true. So the people that you send it to, have you, these are people that you've worked with before or found in the industry, mentors?
All of the above.
Nice.
Yeah, I have old friends, I have colleagues, I have people in the industry, I have mentors. Someone new might come along, and also, this is just an odd strain of conversation, but let's go with it.
Yes.
I also will meet someone who, this is hypothetical.
Okay.
There's no one out there like this. But if they're really negative, if they're always critical, they're never happy with anything. Go to a restaurant, they complain about the food.
Yes.
Go to a show, they complain about this. They never like anything. I will give it to them because I want to hear that negative review.
Is so
because
good.
I know that there are people out there like them that I can be prepared. So, that person thinks it's really corny. Okay, good. I'm going to get corny. So I try to hit everybody. So I can get a really good broad sense of how the general public is going to take it.
That's so smart. We all know one of those people.
No.
The restaurant specifically was like, yes, I know that person. That's hilarious. That's such a good way to do it.
Yeah, I think it's difficult as an artist to do that. But like I said, I think what sets me apart is that once it's done, I don't care about it anymore. I don't take it so personally.
Right.
If anything, I take it personally as the... So I don't take it personally as the chef. I take it personally as a restaurant owner.
Oh, okay.
Because now it's done. And so now it's just a product that I put out there.
Right.
And now the product is getting criticized as opposed to my work, if that makes any sense, or
Yeah.
my artistic vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So I know you from Rosamund is my introduction to you. I saw that at the sold out performances at Fringe. And I have so many questions about it because I love it so much.
Sure.
But now with that project, what are you aiming to do with it? 'Cause you often turn your musicals into musical movies, right? Is that the goal for Rosamund as well?
The goal is twofold. One, I would really love to make it an animated film.
Nice.
A classic Disney era classic animated film, not CGI, not digital, but like hand drawn. I would love that, but obviously
That'd be
that's
so cool.
$1 billion movie, and I don't know how to draw, so
We can get there.
we'll be fine. So if that were to happen, great. And the other thing is to just basically find the next appropriate stage for it, the next place for it, the next incarnation of it.
Right.
So what you saw was a staged concert.
Yes.
Is the next step a fully fledged $25 million firework production, or is the next stage something smaller, something more innovative, something in a cooler space? So right now, yeah, there's lots of plans and lots of irons in the fire and conversations that we'll see where it all leads.
Amazing. And when you're making a show like that, how do you start? What is walk me through your process of making and composing a whole musical theater show?
That one was one of my sounding boards and co-producer Shane. He's really tries to get me to write more commercially viable pieces.
Okay.
Whereas a lot of times I write just from what I feel and want to express. And so I said, okay, well, I'll meet you in the middle. I'll find a commercially viable IP, and then I will write it the way that I want to write it, which is what I did with Rosamund. So I was researching all different fairy tales that I wanted to write about, because I did want to write a fairy tale, because I thought that'd be broad appeal. And I started reading the original texts of some of them, and one of them being Sleeping Beauty, and realized that she does nothing in the entire story. And I thought for a titular character, that's kind of odd and funny, especially today. So I took it upon myself to embark on that part. And then to answer your question of how it actually gets written, I plot out the story with cue cards on my corkboard.
Nice.
And as soon as that's to a point where I'm really, really happy with the story, then I start writing key moments that require a song. And there's that old saying that if you can no longer say it, you sing it, and if you can't sing it, you dance it. So I find those moments that need to be sung. And so I say, this is a song about, and I don't write the song. I just say, okay, this is what the scene is about, this is what the song is about, break it down scene by scene, and then I write the song in text.
Okay.
Not lyrics, just text. So if the song is Coming Here to Film With You, let's say Andrew walks into the film studio and it's a very cold day and he's really hungry because he hasn't eaten all day, and he meets the wonderful host who's very friendly and kind to him, and I'd write that all out, and then now at least I know what the scene is and what they're saying in the song.
Right.
And then once that's all done, then I go back and actually write the song. And the thing that I've learned over time is if it takes me more than 3 minutes to write the song, and I mean the essence of the song, then I don't know what I'm saying. If I know exactly what I'm saying in that moment, in that scene, it'll take 3 minutes. And
Wow.
I can write the theme, the chorus, the first few lines of the chorus, something that says, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, and it happened the other day. I was sitting down, I got inspired, I jumped up, went to the piano, sat down for a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and went, nope, and then left.
Not today.
Not today. And with a musical, then you just jump to the next song.
Right.
for me.
So like your writer's block is like, okay, not this part, we'll go on to another part.
Exactly, because
Nice.
I might know what I'm saying there, as opposed to laboring for a day, an hour over that one song, which might not be clear until later.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's how I write a musical.
Easy. Just kidding.
And typically the musicals are written in like a week.
I was just
maybe
gonna
two.
ask,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how a week?
Yeah. Well, the first draft. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a song that we all know. Let It Go.
Yeah.
How does Let It Go start?
Slow.
Oh yeah,
Like all I can think of now is Let It Go.
Yeah. So I'll write like let it go, da, 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 anymore, let it go, da, 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 da. Stop. I'd be like, that song's done.
Right.
Move on to the next one.
Okay.
Rather than laboring.
Yeah.
Let's let the creativity keep flowing. Move on to the next song. Next song is we finish each other's sandwiches, whatever. And all I write is like boom, gum, dum, gum, dum, dum, gum, gum. I'll be like, done. Move on to the next one. And
Amazing.
so I'll write a verse or a chorus, something like that for every song. I know what the script is saying now because I have a script. I know what the song is gonna say. So to me, it's done. So when I say I write a musical in, if I say 10 days, it means that first draft is 10 days.
Right.
After that, it takes me another maybe 2-3 weeks to finish everything off. And then it's like a legit first draft.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how do you know when it's done?
Who said it? That musicals are never finished. They just open.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Because I was talking to a musician on another episode as well, and he's like, you could go forever on composing and whatnot. So it's never just like done, but you just have to like release it and be like, there you go.
Yeah, and you don't really know, even going back to mixing, for example, I will listen back to mixes I've done in the past, and I go, oh, God, I need to change this, and that's too much reverb, and that's whatever, and I'll tweak it.
Right.
And then, 6 months later, I'll listen back again and go, oh, wait, what was I thinking? And it'll constantly be changed. But at some point, you do listen back to a mix or your show or whatnot, and you go, okay. Yeah. So how do you know? I don't know. You just know and you know.
You just know.
And I think the problem also comes when, like, I haven't seen Wicked the movie yet. Have you seen it?
I did, yes.
And I haven't seen Wicked the show.
Okay.
But I know they're different. But what happens when the movie becomes so successful and it's different? Do they then change the original show?
True.
So this is an interesting thing for me as well, because I've revisited all of my shows and I've revamped them and I've added to them and changed them. So it will be interesting to see where Rosamund ends up.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the one song, I don't know the exact title, but it's Dreaming Alone. What was the inspiration for that song?
The inspiration for that song, the line "Who I Forgot to Be," that's the name of the song.
Thank
Who
you.
I Forgot to Be was stuck in my head. Not even necessarily for Sleeping Beauty, just in general of like all the time we've lived and we forget who you were meant to be. There's a David Goggins interview he did once, and he said, and this actually always makes me tear up because it's so profound for me. He said, my biggest fear or something is being in heaven, dying, being in heaven at the pearly gates, and God says to me, because David Goggins used to be like 400 pounds and exterminator and not what he is today, and he said, oh, David Goggins, ultra marathon holder, world record holder for pull-ups, motivational speaker, this Navy SEAL, and then David Goggins says to God, that's not me. And then God says, that's who you were supposed to be.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Rough.
So I that line of who I forgot to be, of living your life and forgetting that, because life could beat you down.
Yeah.
So, and I thought that's just so great for Sleeping Beauty, who has this curse placed on her. And she just accepted it and accepted her fate. So the whole essence of the show is her not accepting her fate finally and taking control of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. The end ripped me apart. I won't spoil it for people, but if you get a chance, if this hits a stage somewhere near you, please check it out. It was so good. I love it so much. And it's nominated for a bunch of awards now as well, right?
Yeah.
Toronto or Broadway World,
Broadway World.
10 nominations.
Yeah.
Pretty much every award you could get.
Yeah. Except set design. We didn't have sets.
Oh, okay. And that's the only reason why there was no sets. They couldn't be nominated for it. But that's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So many noms.
I mean, everyone always says I have to thank my cast, but honestly, it would not be what it is without them.
Yeah, it was incredible.
They brought
cast.
so much life to it, and I was talking to AJ Bridell, how like we'd just be in rehearsal, and I just wouldn't say anything as a director. I just wouldn't say anything, because they're just doing it.
Yeah,
and they got it. They understood it. Like my intention when writing it, the scene, the feel. They just got it. Like every 4 hours, I might say one little thing, but other than that, they were just so fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, they're a wicked cast.
Yeah.
They're amazing performers all around. So yeah, it was really good.
Oh.
I love it. I can't wait to see what happens with it. Now that you're in, what happens next for this, are you working on other projects as well? Like I know you do your mixing or composing and stuff for film commercials, TV, but any personal projects?
Yeah, I have a few.
A few. That's amazing.
During the pandemic, I wrote a lot.
Yeah.
So there are some projects that never went anywhere. They're just sitting on my hard drive. So I'm currently, how do I say this? Something might happen soon with one of them. And then I will be writing another musical, which I don't know if I can also talk about here yet. Yet.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, so I have 2 projects right now that are on the go.
Nice. Do you do Fringe every year?
Not every year.
Okay.
Whenever I feel like it.
Fair.
I mean, I love Fringe. Fringe is, people ask me this all the time. What's it like? And I say it is, because it's uncurated, right? So it is, and it's all artists who aren't making much of any money at all, doing this for the love of art.
Yeah.
So you get to see art at its purest, artists at their purest.
Yeah.
Doing what they love for the love of doing it, with no promise of money, fame, fortune, or anything like that. Any theater company you go to, any festival you go to that is curated, it is someone's vision of what they want you to see. The Fringe is completely artist driven, so it's such an exciting time of the year for me. I love the spirit of it, and I could not be a bigger supporter. Yeah. So nice. If I have something that I do want to be, and I can find an opportunity through one of their venues or avenues to get in, then absolutely, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Wicked. And are you ever worried about copyright when composing music? Like, do you ever think of a tune and you're like, wait, have I heard that before? Or is this like a new tune? Have you ever had that concern?
I have had that. The bigger concern is copying myself, which I do all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I start playing and singing something and go, that sounds so familiar. What is that? What is that? What is that? I'm like, oh, right. I wrote that. That's
Damn,
from Rosamund.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. I'm like, this sounds so, it happens all the time. In terms of copyright, no, I'm not too worried. That's kind of a good problem to have. You know, your show becomes so famous that
someone sues
Adele's
you, you're like, thank God, I've made it.
But no, and you know, also everything is stolen. Everything. I had an arranging teacher at a university, and he said, copy everyone. And we all, as young students with, bright-eyed, bushy tail, were like, how dare you say that? What about our integrity?
Right.
And he said, you're gonna do it anyway, but you're not gonna know you're doing it. You're influenced by the Beatles. You're influenced by Andrew Lloyd Webber. You're influenced by Beethoven. You're gonna copy it without even realizing you're copying it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go out and plagiarize things, but if, for example, I'm writing something and I feel like, oh, this is getting really close to Beethoven, which I actually technically could copy, but Les Mis. I'm writing something that's getting really close to Les Mis. Along with that idea of creative flow, I'll keep going with it. I'll finish it. And then I'll look back later and go, oh, is it too close? What's too close? That part? Great, change that part. But rather than stopping the creativity, and which is a huge thing for me, I have to, if I'm not inspired, I can't write.
Your musical theater company, how did it get started, and what's your vision for the company?
So the company was started by Shalina Kennedy and Evan Chichis, and they wanted to do site-responsive theater, musical theater. And during the pandemic, Evan decided to move on. So at that time, I was sort of working with them, and I jumped in as AD. And Shalene and I had a lot of talks about what do we want to do. And the thing that always comes up, and I have nothing against Mamma Mia. I have nothing against Mamma Mia, but we use it as an example of lighthearted commercial theater.
Right.
And easily accessible, lighthearted commercial theater. And so we said we don't want to do Mamma Mia. And there are so many companies out there who can do Mamma Mia better. They have more money, they have more resources, they have a space. Why do we want to be another company that does Mamma Mia?
Right.
So what do we want to do? And we explored a lot of different ideas and options, and New Works was a big one for us, as was doing theater that maybe wasn't theater. Maybe it was multifaceted, multidisciplined theater. Maybe it was things like site-responsive theater, things that kind of broke the mold a little bit, as much as you can break the mold within theater. But now we are on Eclipse 3.0. My entry being 2.0. This I cannot tell you about yet.
Okay.
But it's in the works, and it's happening, and it's really, really exciting, and we don't think anyone's really doing what we're about to do, so stay tuned for that, because that's going to be great.
That's so exciting. Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah. And we have a great team as well.
What a good teaser. Yeah. Do you do marketing? That's fantastic. Speaking of marketing, for your promos and little trailers that you do you shoot those with your own equipment, or do you have a little company that comes in and shoots them for you? How do you? Yeah, they look great.
I shoot them myself. Yeah.
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 Nice.
I just don't like. Now we're advertising it. I don't like advertising that I do because I don't want it to be like directed by Andrew Seok, edited by Andrew Seok, lighting by Andrew Seok, color grading by Andrew Seok, set design.
I know.
So yeah, I just say, here's our trailer.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. You have to. I know it's like almost cliche now because everybody does that. I'm the director, the writer, the producer, and everything. But oftentimes you have to, or it won't even happen.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I had a friend of mine, because I've made a few films and short films as well.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine. She's a very well-known director, and she's done a feature and shorts. And we were having dinner at our mutual friend's house, who knows nothing about the industry. And this director was like, "I just can't believe that you do it by yourself." And then my other friend was like, "I don't understand. What does that mean? You do it by yourself?" And then so I said to the director friend, "How many people were on set when you shot that short, for example?" And she's like, 35 people. And I go, including the actors and everyone. She's like, yeah. I go, mine was 2. It was the actor and me, and that was it. And that was when my friend went, oh, shoot, okay. But yeah, I don't have the money to
Right? I was just I'm like, even if you get $1,000 for each person that's there on a 35-person set, I don't have 35 grand.
Yeah. No, that friend of mine just recently told me that film cost 400,000, I think.
Gee.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, mine cost 20.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So close.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool. What made you start filming your own projects? Because you're musical or musical background, and then you wanted to be an actor, or you were an actor, and how?
I tried to be an actor.
Okay.
Way back, gosh, what year was it? I can't. When Miss Saigon was here, around that time, and I had an agent and everything. But literally every audition I went to was a room full of Asian people to play the best friend,
The one role.
the store shop owner's son, and it was always the Asian shop owner's son.
Right.
And there was nothing, literally nothing other than, or the engineer with glasses working at his computer.
Yeah.
And even in theater, there was just nothing. So I basically quit and moved into music, and that led me into producing, that led me into film and television composing. And then there was a point where I said, I really miss writing musicals and that life. So I started up again, and the first film that I shot, I had a musical, Echoes, that I wanted to do something with beyond just a small stage run. And I thought, well, a movie is forever, so let's just make a movie. I didn't know how to make a movie. I didn't know how much a movie costs to make. I didn't even know if this would work as a movie. So I had a bunch of meetings with people, and trying to get funding, trying to get producers on board, and as I'm sure you know, a lot of these meetings are frustrating and useless, and
nobody wants to give me money for some reason.
No. And it just leaves you feeling very deflated. And I'm not one to just lay down, so I said, okay, I'll just do it myself.
Nice.
So I went on YouTube and I figured out how to use a camera and shot one scene. And I said, if this one scene song works, then I know I can do 15 more of them.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I was like, oh, it's not bad.
Shit ain't bad.
Okay. And yeah, one thing led to another, and here I am.
Wow, that's amazing. The Academy of YouTube. We love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, kids have it easy these days.
Yeah. What camera did you use?
At that time, it was a Canon Rebel. I don't even know what they're called anymore. Yeah, Canon Rebel.
But yeah,
the one
just
that
a
like
little
Avril
dealer.
Lavigne advertised.
Yeah. She knows everything.
Yeah, terrible camera. Terrible. And actually, the funny thing is, in the post production, the color grading and all, people were like, "What did you shoot this on? This is amazing!" And I'm like, Canon Rebel with like no autofocus and like awful everything.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Canon.
No, awful camera. Awful camera.
Don't shoot on it. That's amazing. That is so cool. Yeah. But you're right. If you can shoot one scene, rinse and repeat. You gotta do 15 more scenes.
But there's a cool story about that. It also, getting back to like the process of it all. My collaborator Shane, he came from film, and he said a couple things that really stuck with me. He said, one, you're going to get pulled in a million different directions of people telling you what you should and shouldn't do creatively on this film. And if you listen to all of them, then you're just going to be lost in their opinions and not your vision of it. So that stuck with me. And the other thing he said is, no matter what you do, make it good. And I said, duh, of course. It's gonna, like, why would I? He's like, no, I mean, if you think it has to be 90 minutes, but it's only 60 minutes, don't add on another 15 minutes or 30 minutes just to make it fit 90 minutes.
Right.
It has to be good. A great 90 minutes or a great 60 minutes or a great 10 minutes, whatever it is, it has to be great. And I carry that through everything I do now. And I wrote a song recently for this project. It's like a minute 50. And I finished it. I went, well, it's only a minute 50. I have to write more. But I kind of stepped back and I went, it doesn't need more. It's perfectly fine telling what it needs to say or saying what it needs to say in a minute 50. Why would I then extend it?
Just add filler.
Yeah, to take away from how great it is already. So yeah, everything I do now is that. So if you see a show of mine that's 4 hours or you see a show of mine that's 25 minutes, that's why. Because it has to be that.
Amazing. I like that. If you could change anything about the Canadian industry, what would you change?
Ooh, okay.
Just one?
I just had this conversation the other night with a colleague, and I won't mention their name, but you know who you are. We're basically talking about how there's no risk taking in Canada, and there's no value to Canadian work. So, for example, I write Rosamund. I try to get it produced in Canada. Let's say it's one of the best shows ever written, just hypothetically. So Theatre X does the show, this greatest show ever written, but Canadians will not flock to go see it. They don't know it. They've never heard of it. It's doesn't have any fame elsewhere. Rosamund goes to Broadway, becomes a hit. Now Rosamund is not the greatest show in the world. It is mediocre at best. Goes to Broadway, becomes a Broadway hit, comes back to Toronto, all over Canada. The whole world, all of Canada wants it.
Yeah.
And they'll flock to see it.
Yes, we have a problem.
Yeah. Which is understandable, but it's like we are Canadians and we should be supporting our own artists and work. But we can't seem to get past the validation of it. It has to be acclaimed first elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
That is a weird thing that we have, is that we need like the stamp of the US to be like, we liked it. And then as soon as it comes back, we're oh my God, you were in LA? You were in New York? Oh my God. Yeah. It's nuts. Even with anything, musicians, actors, plays,
restaurants,
yeah.
clothing brands,
literally anything. Yeah. It's nuts that we don't just enjoy our own and support our own stuff.
And take the risk on it too. Because doing a musical, and this is something most people don't know, it's enormously expensive. So much, like pick a number in your head and multiply it by 10.
Yeah.
It is so expensive to produce a musical on a big scale.
Right.
25-person cast, 20-person orchestra, IATSE house, sets, lights, promotion. Oh my goodness, it's so expensive.
The rental space alone.
The rental space alone, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And so, for someone to take a risk on something like Rosamund, you're saying, oh, okay, we want you to put X millions of dollars into this thing.
Right.
So I do understand it. I'm not criticizing Canada in that way. I understand it.
Yeah.
Because if it is a hit elsewhere and someone did take that chance, then it's very easy to be like, okay, well, as a business decision, this is a good idea. But your question was, what would I change? And I really wish that there was more risk taken on all Canadian entrepreneurs across the board.
Yeah. When you're casting your shows, are you casting from people that you know and have worked with before, or do you hold auditions? What is your process for that?
Both.
Yeah.
I'll usually start with people I know. I had an actor ask me once in a mentoring session of some kind, that the very question, how do you cast? And I said, I have to like you first. I'm too old and I'm too tired to deal with drama and difficulty, and not to say that person is difficult, but maybe we don't mesh.
Yes.
So I always find people I mesh with, and it's just, even if you're making good money doing a murder show, it's still not a ton of money. It's not enough money to be unhappy with. You're not making $1 million a week and you're like, okay, I'll be unhappy for this.
Right.
And we do this for the love of it. All of us do it for the love. None of us are doing this to get rich. Ideally, that'd be great. So if we're doing that and I self-produce, so I put most of my own money into these projects, risk most of my money in these projects, let's get along.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do is I go through the list of people that I know I get along with, and we both enjoy working with one another. And I'll go through that list, and then whatever I'm short on, I will hold auditions for. And there have been people that I've met through auditions that, great, add that person to the list. Maybe they're not right for this project,
Right.
but now they're on my list. Yeah, I think actors as well don't always fully understand the casting process from the other side of the table. And
Right.
which is why I encourage all actors to be on the other side of the table if they ever get invited to sit in on auditions or whatnot. And that there's so much more to casting than just, oh, that person's great.
Yeah.
That person might be great for that role, but doesn't match that person. I definitely cast as a whole. And this project that I'm thinking about doing now, I'm doing preliminary casting. I haven't even decided that I'm going to do it. But if I do it, I wanted to know who could I get, who would fit nicely in this. And yeah, it's always the same list of people that I go to first, for sure.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's a big list, just for the record.
Yeah, but you
not
built
like
your
4
little
people.
community. Yeah, the same 4 people. That's awesome. That's so good. I'm so curious about this project. Gonna have to get you back on.
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, excellent. And I won't tell anyone. That's excellent. What is something that you would tell your younger self starting out on this creative journey that you know now?
I promised myself I wouldn't be negative in this interview. So what I'm gonna say is I would tell my younger self that no matter what happens, you have to love it. Because things are not gonna go the way you think they're gonna go. They're not gonna go the way you want them to go. So if you don't love it and always love it, then get out now, because it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So I am faced with this daily, and I always come back to what else would I do that would make me as fulfilled as I am doing it. You could literally give me the job, Steve Jobs' job, making $1 billion a year. It would not fulfill me the way this does. So for some people, money matters more. They would do any job for $1 billion and feel fulfilled, and that's their journey. But I can't think of one single thing that could replace this for me. So what I tell my younger self is be prepared. Be prepared to love it, because there's a lot that's not to love.
Okay, my final question for you is what... Oh, no, I lie. I have 2 final questions for you.
Okay.
So my one question is just a question I've really been asking myself lately, and so now I'm asking other people to see if they know an answer, is how do you differentiate between burnout and laziness?
I don't think... Yeah, I think in terms of your question specifically, I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
It's very clear to me. I'm not really a lazy person. So
Didn't seem like it, to be honest.
So I'm lazy with some things, but in terms of like creating, when I don't want to write, I will still try to write.
Right.
And like I said, if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. And then I'll move on to the next one, move on to the next one. Okay, I moved on to 10. Okay, let's call it a day. But then I'll do it later that day, or I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll do it. But burnout for me is I have to take time off. So you said, what do I do when I'm not creating? After I finish a show, like I'm directing it, I'm producing it, I'm doing all the promo, I'm orchestrating it, I am toast afterwards. Like there was one show I literally thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I'm like, well, this is it. Just don't happen on stage. Like it was bad.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so after a show, I take like anywhere from 1 to 3 months off.
Nice.
I don't do any music. I don't do any film. I don't do any. I I just hang out with friends and, go shopping or whatever. I don't do anything. And that's burnout for me. And it's very easily identifiable.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But then at some point I get an itch and I'm like, okay, well, I want to do something.
Okay, nice. So you're pretty good at listening to yourself, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's awesome. And when you're saying, I have more questions than just two, I lied. When you were saying earlier, when you have the whole day to do something and you did it in 3 hours, was that just okay, I'm inspired to do it and now I'll sit down and do it? Or you had 12 hours to do it, so you waited for the last 3 hours and then the pressure's on, so now you feel like you're gonna do it? Or do you procrastinate, I guess is the question.
I really, you said I'm good at listening to my body. I listen to my impulses as well. So if I'm lying on the couch scrolling through my phone and there's the tiniest impulse to get up, hell, even just to get up,
Yes.
I'll get up. Because I'm like, my body's trying to tell me something, I should probably get up. Or if I feel like, I could probably write something, I'll just go. Because I've learned just through so many years that if I ignore it, it'll pass. And then I'll still be on the couch on my phone.
For hours.
Yeah. And so there'll be time, bad example, but there'll be time literally at 11:30 at night. I'm tired, I'm gonna go to bed in a half hour. I'll get an impulse, it'll be like, go for a run. And I'll just, okay. And I'll put my shoes on, and I'll put my coat on and everything, and I'll get ready. And if I'm out the door, I'm out the door. If I'm not, and I stand at the door and go, I don't want to do it, I won't go.
Yeah.
So it's always about listening to impulse for me. So in those 12 hours that I had to write, at any moment where I felt like, try again, or an idea popped in my head, explore that, see what happens, and that's what I would do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. And my actual final question for
Sure
you.
it is.
I know. Is what would you give this chapter in your life? If you could give it a title, what title would you give this chapter in your life?
I promised myself I wouldn't be negative in this interview.
See, I don't know why you said that. I don't know.
This chapter is a title for the chapter.
Mm-hmm. It can be negative.
I can tell you what it's about.
Okay.
And my girlfriend's helped me a lot with this, that there are realistic limitations to success in the arts. And I'm talking, Steven Spielberg success.
Right.
You might be the next Steven Spielberg, but you might not necessarily get the opportunity to reap the rewards of that career. So I'm really, really trying to now focus on however many years left I have to really enjoy those years, rather than be disappointed by any perceived lack of success. Not to say I haven't had success, but I want to be happy.
Yes.
I want to enjoy writing. I want to enjoy doing a show, rather than thinking about, well, what's the next step? And how am I going to get there? Or what does that guy have?
Right.
So that's really what this chapter is now.
Nice. I like it. Well, thank you so much for coming down today and letting
Thanks for having
pick
me.
your brain and learn all about you and what you're doing. So it was fantastic. I had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something. I hope you go see Andrew's shows. They're incredible. And I'll see you in the next interview.